Hey guys. So I did a review of different smart ceiling fan controls in the past, and that review was pretty popular. And I've tried some new ones, so I'm going to do an updated review. I'm going to try to cover all the smart devices that I've used. So let's start with the hubs. The Bond hub is the first one I heard of. I have one and I still use it, which is why I don't have one here to show you on camera. It's currently hooked up and in use. But it's just a little hockey puck thing that, you know, plugs into the wall via micro USB, and you connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you connect it to your smart home devices or your phone, and you program each of your existing non-smart fan remotes to the Bond. So basically your non-smart fan remotes send out radio signals, and so you would program the Bond to know what radio frequencies mean what. And so then when you give a command from the app or from smart devices, Alexa, Google Home, etc., then the Bond would send out the signal mimicking the remote and control your fans and lights. When I first discovered it, it was a godsend because I had no other way to connect my non-smart fans and lights to be a part of smart home, and so I really liked it, but it's got some bugs. A lot of the signals get dropped from time to time. I had to really experiment with different placements in my house. It turned out to be on the bottom floor. This house doesn't have a basement, but the lowest level, even for the top floor, it's a split level 3-story house, and even for the top floor, having it on the bottom floor worked the best. You're limited to 6 devices, which for the $100 that it cost, I mean, you're converting 6 non-smart fans to smart for $100. That's a pretty good deal. Let me see if I can show you the app real quick, because you can control the Bond either from so I've got one hub. It doesn't say how many hubs you can have, and I've got 6 fans. And I like it. Like I said, it's not the most reliable thing. The biggest downside is that a lot of my non-smart remotes had a toggle light button. So instead of like an on and an off command, it just has one button. And so if the light is off and I tell Bond to turn it off, it'll turn it on. It can't tell that it's already off. But if you have non-smart fans, and you want to make them smart, and you don't want to replace the original electronics, or you can't for some reason, the Bond Hub works really well. It's $100. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's got some bugs, it's got some issues, but I'm very pleased with mine. And then Meross, a company I had previously bought dimmers from, came out with their own version of it. This is essentially what the Bond looks like, only this is their version. And a micro USB. The advantages of the Meross is it's a lot cheaper. It's half the price, $50, and it can take a lot more fans than the Bond. I don't remember how many. I think like maybe 18, but it's way more than I needed. Right now there's only 6 non-smart remotes left in my house, and there's only 7, and the Bond can take 6. So I've got one odd one out. And I was going to try using this to control that, and if I really liked this, then I'd convert all 7 to this. The problem was that this didn't recognize all the commands on my non-smart remote. So the remotes that I have that aren't smart are all Fanimation products. Fanimation is the company I used to work for. They're a very popular fan company. They sell they make a lot of the fans that are sold in Lowe's. They make a lot of the fans that are sold in showrooms. They're just very popular. And so there's nothing obscure or unusual about the remote at all. And when you pair it to the Meross, you have to pair each command separately. So, pair low speed, click, click, click. Pair medium speed, click, click, click. And it could not find the high speed command. I could get low, medium, and off to pair, but not high. I didn't try the light command. I emailed their customer service. They said, we'll look into it. They gave me some things to try that I'd already tried. And so this is going back to Amazon. It might work for you. It didn't work for me. It might work for you. For $50, you want to try it, and you can always return it to Amazon. I'm not going to say it didn't work for you, but if you are not interested in taking that chance, then just go with the Bond if your goal is to use existing non-smart remotes. Because like I said, I've had largely good experiences with the Bond, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get this to work. Okay, so next up we have the smart remotes with a receiver, and these work just like any other. You know, you have a receiver that mounts in the fan canopy, and you have a remote that, you know, that you can hold in your hand and use from wherever. And then the only difference between this and a standard remote kit is that it's also Wi-Fi compatible, so you can also connect it to the apps in your phone. And you can also control it with your smart devices, with your smart home devices. So the first one I tried was the SONOFF iFan 2, which is the remote you see here. And I didn't like it. I talked more in detail about why I didn't like it in the previous review. The commands that I needed to use with Alexa were not the same as the rest of, you know, with Bond or the other brands that I've used. So I'd have to use all different commands for the fans that used that system. The factory speeds were very slow, and I think I had a lot of trouble getting it to pair. So I never ended up using it. I tested it, and then I said I'm done with that. The thing I liked about it was that the remote is small and yet feels quality, which isn't the case with some of the other ones, and we'll get to that. So then the next one that I tried was the QIACHIP, which is the receiver you see here and the remote you see here. The downside is that this is a very large, very cheap feeling remote. Upside being that this works with my standard Alexa commands. I've gotten a few duds, but the ones that worked right out of the box were very easy to pair and set up. The speeds are a little more conventional. If you know anything about using capacitors or speeds, both I can't remember what the capacitor values were for the SONOFF. This one uses a 4 and a 5, so it's 4 for low and 9 for medium, and then of course high is direct. So it's a little slower than like the Fanimation remotes are 5-12, well 5-7, and then they add together to be 12. A standard wall control might be 5, 10, 15. These are microfarads. These are capacitor values. So it's a little on the slow side, being 4, 9, but usable. And then, of course, if you're handy with a soldering iron, you can solder in any capacitor values you like and get whatever speeds you like. So I've had good luck with these. I think I've got like 8 of these installed around the house now. The downs, including the fan you see in the background of anything when I'm filming here in the living room, like my weekly show or any other things I do like this, where it's just me talking to the camera, and you see this fan in the background. Right now, this is on one of these QIACHIP controls, and they're also sold by an Amazon store called Cool Auto or Auto Cool or something like that, but it's the same product. Yeah, the which remote is this? I can't remember. So this is for the fan that you can't see because it's above the camera. It beeps when you, which I like, and you know, some people may be really bothered by that. I like it. Even in my bedroom fan, when I give a command, I want to know that the smart device heard the command. For example, Alexa, foyer fan 50%. Okay. It beeped, and then it'll speed up. So, like I said, the biggest disadvantage of these is that the construction's pretty cheap. I've had one remote with stuck buttons, which is actually the one to that. And I don't ever use the remote, so it's fine, but, you know, it would be nice if it didn't have issues. I've had a few that the Wi-Fi wouldn't pair. I've had a few that the Wi-Fi paired, and then a day or two later it lost the signal and wouldn't repair. So I've had to, like I said, I've probably got 10, I can't remember how many I said, maybe 8 or 10 of these installed throughout the house. I've probably bought 12 or 15 of them and then returned the ones that were duds. So with these, if you're going to install one, buy 2 just in case you got to send one back. But otherwise, I particularly like these, and they're definitely the smart device I've used the most. Okay, so let's move on to the wall controls. So this is the new one. I'm going to do this one first. This is the TreatLife. And this is what inspired me to do new reviews, because this has the one feature that I've been looking for that I haven't found yet. It's got a light dimmer built in. None of these other ones. Even if you've got a dimmer on your remote and then you connect it to Bond, you still can't dim the lights through Smart, through your phone or through Alexa or whoever. This is the first fan control that I have found that doesn't require a hub and doesn't require additional stuff. I know there's a few out there where you need a hub, and I know Leviton's got a whole system and things like that. But this is the first one I've found that is self-contained smart fan control that has a light dimmer. It's a wall switch, so if you're going to control your fan and light separately, you would need a third wire, or you can do what I did in my dining room fan. You can see it in a separate video. I installed this in the canopy of the fan like a receiver. It's 4 speeds. The capacitor values are 3.5, 5.5, 9, so definitely on the slower side. What else? The light dimmer is 0 to 100, and you can set it. There's 3 different dimmer types. It doesn't say what they are. I assume LED, CFL, and incandescent. It doesn't say. I just picked the one that had the dimmest setting. The only thing I really don't like about it is that like the SONOFF iFan, my regular Alexa commands don't work. So you saw when I controlled this one, I did percents. Or I might say, Alexa, foyer fan low.
Okay.
This one doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say. By the way, these jump to high first before they go to low, which I have mixed feelings about, and I went into more detail about that in a separate review for that control. But yeah, these I have to say level 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't do percentages. I really wish it did percentages. That's the command I like to give. And if it's not going to do percentages, then I wish I could just say speed 1, 2, 3, 4, which sometimes it'll kind of do, but it really only responds consistently if I say level 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be great if there was a handheld version, just so that it was designed to do what I did, put it in the canopy. But nevertheless, I'm really pleased with this. I forgot to talk prices. So the SONOFF, I think, was like $30 when I bought it. I don't know what they are now. It was a little on the pricier side of the remotes, but like just a little more expensive than some of the other ones. The QIACHIP, depending on when you buy it, there's been coupons and the prices have gone up and down. They're anywhere between $25 and $28. These are $45, so definitely more expensive, but at the same time, if you wanted the dimmer functionality, you need to buy a separate control and dimmer. So now you're easily at the $40-some. So I think these are worth it. I wouldn't mind if they cost a little less, and I wouldn't mind if they had a version that was designed to be installed in the fan canopy. I wouldn't even need it to have a handheld remote. Just give a little module that goes in the canopy and make the rest of it smart. But whatever, I like these enough that I'm considering switching one to there. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do it, but that's why I got an extra one. Okay, so then you've probably seen my videos before where I talk about these wall controls. Can I go show them on camera? Oh, sorry, I'm jumping around. Let's just real quick, let's show you in the TreatLife app, because everything else that we've used up till now uses a TreatLife app, which is what I prefer, because pretty much every smart device that I've gotten used the TreatLife app. So, sorry, I don't know why I had my phone on airplane mode. I think maybe I was planning to film with the phone. So let's try to open up that fan there just to show you what the QIACHIP ones are pretty standard. Come on. See, can I show you? There we go. Can you see it? So that's that foyer fan. So let's go back to speed 2. Back to speed 1. So that's pretty standard. And then let's show you the TreatLife. It's a little fancier. You see there's the light dimmer on the one side and there's the fan speeds on the other. So let's just take that light down to like, I tried to do 50%, it did 49, so close enough you can see. Let's take the dining room fan up to level 2. Okay, and then there's a setting here for dimmer setting. And like I said, it's got dimming mode. You can set the minimum. You can also lock it in a certain setting. So let's put those back how I found them. Come on. So, you might have seen these in previous videos. These are wall controls that are infinitely variable. They're solid state controls. One of them is branded MOES and does not have an on-off switch for a light. This one is branded, it doesn't have branding on the control. The company is called ARHEHUANG or something like that, and it's sold through a store on Amazon called QKDS store. And the interface in the app is slightly different. I like this one better, but they're infinitely variable, so the upside is you can pick any speed between 0 and 100. The downside is that if you have a fan that's not designed for use on a solid state control, which frankly is most fans, then it's going to be noisy. And so there's a lot of complaints on Amazon about those being noisy. And it's just because it's a solid state control. Any solid state control would be noisy under those circumstances, but most people don't know the difference when they're shopping for controls. I'm looking for the interface to show you. Come on. Here we go. I scrolled right past the kitchen fan. So there it is. Right now it's on, what, like 10%? Alexa, kitchen fan, 2%.
Okay.
Alexa, kitchen fan, 50%.
Okay.
So, again, if you have a fan that's silent on a solid state control, then those are great. And if not, it's going to be noisy, and that's the downside. The other downside is they seem to have discontinued the infinitely variable version because of all the noise complaints, and they made a 3-speed version instead. It's got high, medium, and low. But they really hit a misstep with this one, if you ask me, because I'm not sure what they're using to control the speeds. It does not appear to be capacitors. I opened one up and it's just tiny little yellow bricks that look like small resistors. But on some fans, it's just like 3 high speeds, and on other fans, you get a range of speeds, but it's very noisy on low and medium, particularly on medium. So there's really no advantage of using this control. It's just as noisy as the infinite one, but you don't have the range of speeds, and it doesn't give a good range of speeds on every fan. What you can do, as you can, if you're good with soldering, you can open it up and replace those little resistors or whatever they are with leads to capacitors, and then set your own speeds. But again, that's above the head of most people that are buying smart controls. So, to summarize, the only wall control that I really think is consistently good, and even then I've got a few caveats, but it also has the one feature that nothing else has, the dimming, is the TreatLife. So I definitely recommend this wall control. If you are if you want a wireless remote, or if you're looking for the most economical option, and just keep in mind that there might be some duds, QIACHIP, and if you want to interface with your existing RF remotes, Bond. Those are my recommendations. Again, I'm not recommending the Meross. It just didn't work for me. If you have a fan that works well with solid state, I love these infinitely variable controls, but they seem to have discontinued them. And then again, there's absolutely no usefulness in this control. And both MOES and the other company have the exact same one. I opened them up, I couldn't see a difference. But there's absolutely nothing useful about them without modifications. So unless you're going to be soldering, I wouldn't buy these controls. So hopefully this helped somebody. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. If you want more details about any given control, I have separate videos about all of them where you can see them working on different fans. Hopefully, let's see if there's anything else in SmartLife that I can show you, because I've got all the controls set up in here. So here is what one of those 3-speed MOES or otherwise controls looks like. And again, I have it modified, so you can kind of see. Can you see the fan there in the center? That's a spinning fan in the center. It just looks like a circle. So that's what those look like. Very similar to the interface that the QIACHIP uses. And then I showed you the infinitely variable one, which is, it's different. It's got a range. And then the most different is the TreatLife, which has got the separate sliders. And again, the commands that work on everything else don't work on the TreatLife. But I'm willing to overlook that to have the light dimmer and to have 4 speeds. It's the only one that has 4 speeds. But I would still rather that the same commands worked. Okay, well, I've summarized again. So, thanks for watching. I hope this helped somebody. Looking forward to your questions and comments.